We're streaming.
Okay, let me just click that. Okay, good evening, everybody, and welcome to this Policy and Finance Committee meeting of Beverley Town Council. I think it's the first one of January, first one of 2022. So if I haven't seen you this year, and for any who may be watching this live stream, then may I wish you a very happy new year.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. So the meeting is being live streamed on YouTube, and we are meeting virtually. The members who are present are myself, Councillor Linda Johnson, Councillor Duncan Jack, Councillor David Horsley, Councillor Chloe Hopkins, Councillor Anne Willis. Do we have any apologies, Matt? Please.
Yeah, we've got Councillor Thomas Dale due to work, and Councillor David Tucker can't substitute because it's on holiday, and Councillor Dennis Healy due to a medical appointment. Thank you very much.
The quorum for this meeting is 4, and there are 5 people present. However, because we are meeting remotely, and because so far government legislation at the moment means that we are not allowed to make decisions remotely, then any of the decisions we do make will be just recommendations for the acting town clerk. Would you like to add to that, Matt?
I think that about summarises it, and as ever, the recommendations more focus my resolution on the matter.
Thank you, Matt. Declarations, agenda item number 3. To record declarations of interest by any member of the council in respect of the agenda items being listed. Members declaring interest should identify the agenda item and type of interest being declared. Are there any declarations? No, thank you very much indeed. And 3B, to note dispensations given to any member of the council in respect of the agenda items below.
No dispensations have been received.
Thank you very much indeed. So hopefully everybody has an agenda pack in front of them. First we need to note the minutes of the Policy and Finance Committee meeting held on Monday, 15th of November, previously circulated, approved and signed at full council on Monday, the 10th of January.
Noted.
Thank you. Agenda item number 5, we come to payments to review the current account payments made between the 1st of December 2021 and the 31st of December 2021. And you will find that under item 5A. Oh, David Tucker's joining us. Excellent. Just wait till he gets in. Oops.
Councillor Tucker said he would try and attend it as a deputy, as a substitute. It was depending on the signal where he's on holiday.
Yeah. He could be having difficulty. Can you hear us, David? Shall we continue? Okay. I wonder if anyone has any queries with regard to the list of payments made from the current account. Ah, David, good evening. We can see you. We can't hear you, but we can see you. And we can see.
I think Councillor Tucker's audio is currently connecting.
Excellent. And we can see Mrs. Tucker as well. She's looking quite concerned. Okay, so just while Councillor Tucker joins us by audio, I wonder as we look down the list of payments if anyone has any queries. No, lots of head shaking. Councillor Tucker, welcome. You are on mute at the moment.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
We can, yes, welcome.
My apologies.
You are a long way away.
I'm an awful long way in a very remote part of Northumbria, so I feel very privileged to be able to get through tonight and cover Councillor Stell. Thank you.
Yes.
Welcome, thank you for joining us.
Yes.
We are now on agenda item 5A. Councillor Tucker, which is the list of payments which have been made between the 1st of the 12th and the 31st of the 12th. And I've invited councillors to comment if they have any comments to regard to these list of payments. Yes, Councillor Hopkins.
Really just a matter of curiosity. What did we need international postage for?
The mayor can answer that one.
I can answer that one. The mayor, interestingly, gets Christmas and New Year greetings from Italy, from Boccaccio, and also from a town in Japan, which visited Beverley, or sent a delegation during Councillor Begnet's year as mayor, and therefore the town council, the mayor of the town council, reciprocates by sending a Christmas card to these two towns. So that's your international postage.
It's just curious, really. It's not like a high amount, but I wondered where our international links were.
So it was emails that were received from Stendhal and Lemgo and Nogent-sur-Oise, but the card which came from Japan was particularly beautiful. I will show it to you next time we can meet face to face. Councillor Astel, good evening. Excellent. We've reached item 5A, Councillor Astel, and I'm inviting comments as to whether we are happy with these payments. Yes, Councillor Horsley.
Yes, I would say that this procedure is becoming increasingly clear and transparent, and that's very pleasant. There are still one or two items that are not totally transparent, but they're usually for fairly small amounts.
And Councillor Horsley, would you like to expand on that comment?
I can't, because I can't reach my agenda, which is on a different computer.
Okay, so perhaps next time, Councillor Horsley, you could make a note of the queries.
Yeah, I'll try and do that.
Yeah,
I think, Madam Chair, I think some of those will be because in the transaction details we're only allowed so many characters on the system. So if it doesn't make full sense, we've done our best. But as councillors have done before, they can just ask the question and we can just clarify it. And Councillor Horsley is right. Just that clarification in the meeting makes it more publicly transparent.
Absolutely. You will notice that we have made a payment to Jeff Simpson Holdings, and that we have a discussion about our storage facility coming up later on. But again, if anybody has any queries with regard to any of these payments, then I'm sure they'll be easily explained. Are we happy to recommend that the payments for item 5A are made? You just need to indicate. Yeah, thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Shall we move on to agenda item 5B, which is to review the credit card payments?
If I could just explain on that one, councillors and Madam Chair, the final payment, the 111.43 for CCTV, it was just put when it was inputted in the RBS, it was into the wrong bank account. So it goes on, it's removed. It's not being paid through the credit card. It's been taken on, shown as the error, then removed. And on the payments you've just approved, it's actually listed on there because that was the proper, that was the actual account it should have come out at. With one of the good things about the RBS system is that if you do something like that, rather than it just being removed, it shows the process of it going on, then it being removed, so there's a track record of it.
Excellent. I think we are learning more about this RBS system and its capabilities on almost on a daily basis, which is great news. The extra investment in that system has been well worthwhile. We're all happy with that? Can we just indicate? Fantastic, thank you. And review the bank balances as of the 31st December 2021 and bank balance comparisons. I've got the wrong teeth in, sorry.
So some of this information, Madam Chair, has already been before council. For example, the quarterly balance comparisons when we do the quarter at full council. It's just the way the time scale has fallen this time that you've seen them twice, more or less.
Always good to see things twice. Has anyone any queries or comments with regard to those bank balances? Yes, Councillor Hopkins.
Yes, it's just if we have a facility when we're doing this reporting to also include the current status of the CCLA account. Is that something that's possible, Matt?
I'll check how often they send us the statements. But yeah, we can add that to it. We can keep a check on that and add that to potentially the Excel sheet, because it wouldn't be on the necessarily on the RBS. But if you leave that with us, that's a good idea.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other comments or queries or suggestions? Very valid suggestion. Thank you, Councillor Hopkins. Are we happy to approve these quarterly balance comparisons?
Sorry, actually, on the quarterly balance comparison, the last one is CCLA. So as you can see, it didn't make a huge amount of interest between the first and second quarter, but yet it'll be recorded there at the bottom of that sheet.
But at least there is some interest.
Yes.
£8.10.
Well, given the amount of time it's been in, it's not the worst, and it's certainly more than we were gaining previously.
Absolutely. So thank you for these. The quarterly comparisons are really, really valid. Yes, Councillor Astor.
Could I just say quickly? Yeah, it's interesting to note that we invested in the right investment company. It has to be said that the property that we've invested in, our money, it won't be as worse off as being invested in the hospitality and that sort of industry. At least we've got property, and that property is rented property. So I think it's a credit to the staff and the rest of the council for making such a wise move with CCLA. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Estelle. Absolutely. And in fact, if we move on to agenda item number 6, which is to discuss rental, we can see that rentals are going up and increasing. In fact, the property market, as we know, is doing extremely well at the moment. So that was a very good point. Well made, Councillor Estelle. Can I move over to agenda item number 6, please, which is pass that over to Matt with regard to a discussion with regard to the storage facility that we have on Swinemore at the moment.
Can I just ask, did you do number C with the bank statements?
Sorry, no, sorry, that was removed off the agenda, Libby. So
I've got an old agenda.
Item D became C. Sorry about that. Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. So yeah, Jeff Simpson Holdings. This is the unit that the town council rents on the Swinemore Industrial Estate. As I'm sure councillors Estelle and Jack will qualify, there's quite a lot in it, and as part of our ongoing process where we know we need to do an audit process of our possessions, a better audit, with that facility will factor in as part of that. I think that at this current time, given the amount that's in there, and we'd only have a couple of months to find another facility, it's not practical, and B, it's currently 420 a month, with the new financial going up to 441.59 a month. The actual cost is not prohibitive. It's in line with other costs. We know we're looking in the big scheme of things to find alternative premises for the town council as well, which may or may not include storage. So it's my advice as clerk that we accept the increase of £21.59 a month and continue with Jeff Holdings Unit 2.
Thank you for that recommendation. Councillor Estelle wanted to speak, and then Councillor Hopkins. Yes, yeah, Peter.
Yeah, just a couple of questions, Chair, to Matt. Matt, can I just ask you, please, what is the contract between town council and this company that we're actually renting the unit off? Is it easy in, easy out, or are we tied down to any length of time?
It's tied down to, I think, a year. But we need to also, as part of our wider scheme of things, assess our contracts with everything as well, to make sure that they are assessed on so we have a list of them that are assessed on an ongoing basis. I don't think there would be too much of an issue of of leaving the contracts. But as I say, I can't see a huge rush for us to do so either.
Thank you. Oh, sorry, Pete. Sorry.
Yeah, on that basis, then I would go with what Matt is advising us. I think we need it, but I do agree with Matt. There is other issues, and Duncan's aware of this with regarding that unit, of which I think Matt and Libby will make a note that if we put it on the agenda for PES, we can maybe get that unit tidied up. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Hopkins.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It was actually just a query about how does this fit in with our budgeting for the year ahead? Because obviously this will come into primarily into next year's budget. So I just wondered, does it come within our?
Yeah, it comes within our budget because we anticipate there might be a change. I'll just double check the contract. Yeah, it's for a 1-year contract.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Jones.
Yeah, our comment would be it took us one hell of a long time to actually find the unit that was practical. Peter's right, it does need tidying up. We've been down there, Peter, haven't we? We've done a bit, but there's a bit more required. But it is a very good unit, I think, and it gives us a bit of space for future. But I think even if we find alternative accommodation, the chance of finding storage space like that will be peculiar. Because I think any accommodation we'll have will be that central that, you know, any offices we're looking at will want to be central, and to be paying central rates for storage would be folly, really. So I think we'll be very lucky to find somewhere else.
Thank you, Duncan. Do you have any other queries? So it sounds as if we are in agreement that we should continue with this rental for another year.
Just for clarification, if we take Councillor Estelle and Councillor Jack as the proposer and seconder, so they spoke in favour of it. Other people ask questions. That kind of covers the.
And it would be just for a year, wouldn't it?
Yes, it's a year's contract. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm happy with that. Anne's indicated that she is. Happy. Yeah. Thank you. Full house. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. We move on to agenda item number 7, policies. Scheme of delegation. I'm going to hand straight over to Matt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Now, I know it's not been long at all since we approved this, but as with every audit, other points and issues will be raised. One thing that we need to make stronger in the scheme of delegation was the connection between the delegated responsibility and powers of specific committee to spend and how much and what on. So the only suggested revisions are on page 16 of 20 of your pack, which is connected with the PES committee. The committee has delegated authorisation to incur expenditure within budget parameters to a maximum of £2,000 for functions and services relevant to that committee. And then the items that are listed are ones that are specific budget lines themselves, litter bins, grit bins, benches, etc., which are listed in that revision. The second one is Christmas lights, because again, it's got a delegated power to spend. So to keep it in line with the others, a maximum of 2,000. Anything more than that would come to full council, but that's to cover the lights. But I've also added the display and associated technical infrastructure. And then on page 17 of 20, the personnel committee for £2,000 functions, those being procurement of legal and other advice relating to staffing matters. This committee itself doesn't usually have projects or items that it doesn't have budget lines. It oversees the budget, whereas those 3 committees have delegated responsibility to spend. Those 3 additions just marry that up with the budget and ensure that it's clear what their ability to spend on and what is.
Thank you, Matt. Yes, Councillor Astell.
Yeah, can I welcome this from Matt? It's long overdue, is this? I'm looking at Anne when we're on PES. Sometimes we ping pong ideas or resolutions, it has to go before PES and then to full council or this committee for ratification. And I think this is a way forward, that we've got up to £2,000 we can spend, and I think that he's bang on his maths in what he suggests. Also, Christmas lights, because Christmas lights, when they meet, again, they have to spend money, and I don't think it's out of the way. £2,000 for each committee, and there will be a discussion. It's not a case of just spending, spend. Everybody has their say, and at the end of the day, if we've got that authority to spend, it cuts a lot of time, and it gives the staff more easiness as well. They know what committee has agreed, and all it needs is ratifying at full council. So I agree with it. Thank you.
Absolutely. I'd just like to say that each of these committees has a budget anyway allocated, and it does seem to me really bizarre that you have to keep coming back to ask permission to actually spend any of that money. So I welcome this completely.
I would propose that, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Estelle. And David Horsley.
Yeah. Just for total clarification, I presume that as is natural here, the £2,000 means you can spend that once it's been ratified by full council. You can then spend it again.
Yes, it's not a maximum for the year. It's any one time, any one item, and then if there's any items above the £22,000 as a total, it'll come to full council. Which is why the grants committee doesn't work in that way. That's there to recommend who the council give money to, and that goes to full council because often it's more than the amount. Yeah.
Any other comments? So I've got a proposer, which is Councillor Astell. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Hopkins, thank you very much indeed. Are we all happy with that? Yeah, everybody's put their hand up. That's fantastic. This should save a lot of toing and froing, those of you who are chairs of these committees. So that's great news. Thank you. And policy review, the final agenda item 7B, to Matt, which is something that he and I discuss continually. I'm going to hand it to Matt.
Yeah, we just need to make sure that we do have all policies that we require in place, and that they are reviewed and renewed as and when. Such as a good example is what we've just done. Or whilst it was only relatively recently that we approved it, this little amendment makes it even more usable. It's just to make councillors aware that the sets of policies that we need to look at in the pretty much immediate future. One issue are policies and procedures regarding things like the office safety, things like fire safety, extinguishers, fire evacuation, first aid, things like that, visual display unit working. So we're going to be looking at those. Libby recently, who as she oversees the allotments, manages the allotments, she recently took some training on this, and allotment law, for councillors who've been here a while will know that some allotment law is pretty archaic, but to have modern policies in place to help govern the allotments. So Libby's going to be working in the future on some policies which will help direct the governance of the allotments. For example, the contracts say that allotments have to be cultivated, and if they're not, tenants can lose their allotment. But what classes as cultivation? To put a percentage of the plot, depending on the size of the plot, etc. So there's more guidance that enables officers to make better decisions, but it also enables more equality without having to think almost in a different way for each person. There's a set of rules that can be followed. Another aspect that we're looking into, as well as for want of a better term, the HR policies. It's something that we need to bring to the personnel committee. We're looking, the personnel committee is looking at the idea of an potentially HR company working for the town council in the same way we have an IT company on a monthly retainer. But we've been struggling to get some responses back, so we're diving into that again. So basically, just to say that we are aware that policies need updating, especially some of the policies and documents that ensure our continuity. and our sustainability. And they were raised by the internal auditor last year and mentioned again this year. And believe me, it is stuff that we're working towards, but we don't always have the time to move things forward as quickly as we'd want. But we are working on them all, and working with the chairs of the committees as well to make sure that committees that connected to policies that connected to those committees are also relevant. So it's a working partnership. So that's about it. I think if I've missed anything out, Libby, please do say. But I think that kind of summarises where we are. We know there's work to do, and we'll be moving on with it.
Thank you very much indeed. Libby, did you want to comment? We are well aware that all of our staff at the moment just don't have enough hours in the day, and I thank you all so much for the work that you are doing and the way that you're making our council compliant. And you've been working with Safia and working with the councillors to ensure that everything is as well done as it possibly can be. And we recognise the challenges that you've all had through COVID as well. So thank you so much indeed for your hard work. It is much appreciated. We have now finished our agenda. So I call this meeting to a close at 18